Happened with my computer. This happened the other day. Oh, I've made my mistakes, but the American people are going to have to know I am not a crook. They're going to need to know. I've made my mistakes. Was that Clinton, or was that the... Lines, I can't get something to work on my computer here. I'm trying something new. Folks, stay with me. Why I can't get this to work properly, Lonnie?
You know, if you're just going to stand there, you could, like, do a vaudeville dance or something. Maybe
well, I'm thinking the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm thinking the same thing. Where's my paperwork?
I got viewers that want to be entertained. Now, if you do a good job...
If I just stand here, it's entertaining.
If you do a good
Folks,
job,
did you watch? All right, Lonnie, get out of this. I found my sheet. She just made some mistakes. We're always doing something new. Why do you have me like I'm walking a catwalk here? Huh?
I liked your analogy better the other day, the plank.
The plank. Folks, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. It is Thursday. Ice baby. Did you see Hillary Clinton? She has ice in her veins. I mean, absolutely. This lady has ice in her veins. Now, we'll be doing a whole lot of jumping around this morning. Lonnie and I, as you know, we're trying something new. Every day when you come, you never know. Now, folks, let me just get something out to start the show. If you're watching the mainstream media, I want to put this out here because you will need to keep up with this. And the media is working on bringing Donald Trump down to Hillary's level. Hillary's threshold is so low, what the media has to do is put Donald Trump and Hillary on the same level. So they have to bring him down. So when you're seeing all the reports on how bad Hillary is, what a big liar she is, she's crooked Hillary, whatever, but then you wonder, hey, the only thing the media could do is bring this guy down to her level to where the only choice you have is this no good candidate or this no good candidate. That's why you hear all the time that the American people, there's two candidates and the American people do not like either one. They don't like either candidate. That's what you keep hearing because the media has to bring it down. September, remember what I told you? September is pay attention month. Please pay attention because Congress is back at work, all right? Remember what Paul Ryan said this time last year? Remember, pay attention. This time last year, the omnibus bill was sitting on his desk. He referred to it as the cake. Remember, the cake was baked. It was sitting there when he got there. Don't forget that. It was baked. It was sitting there. He had to deal with what he was handed. We remember all of that. Couldn't start over. Well, Speaker Ryan has had an entire year. He's had an entire year to put all the new ingredients together for his. You know, they keep talking about Donald Trump's plan and Donald Trump's plan. Speaker Ryan has had a whole year to prepare for this month. What will we end up with? What is the cake that he is baking? What are the ingredients? Watch September. Harry Reid, Chucky Schumer, the Freedom Caucus. What's going on? Need a continuing spending resolution to get through the year, especially maybe up till February of next year. Watch what happens. September is the month to pay attention. Now, Lonnie, I've heard more. I want to ask you, I've heard the word misogynist more in the last 6 months. Would you agree? I mean, right? Misogynist is a person who hates or doesn't trust women, right? Okay, that's what it says. Now, here's what I'm getting at, okay? Because last night, all right, let me see here, Lonnie, what I have. Misogynist. If you're someone who believes women belong in the kitchen, it shouldn't be according the same respect as men. You might be misogynist. You might be a redneck. A misogynist is a person who hates and doesn't trust women, right? So that's what I have here. Now, I have a problem with my screen, Lonnie.
Well, performance issues, 4 out of 5.
Well, I mean, I'm not for sure why it keeps doing this. I keep losing place here because it keeps my screen. And I can't understand why it keeps doing that to me.
Do you have 100 tabs open again?
No, I don't have 100 tabs open.
Lie to me.
I'm not, but I got a problem with my screen. Okay, now, why don't they ever talk about, it's working. What is this word?
Misandry.
Misandry, right? Have you ever heard the word misandry? Do you know what misandry is?
Misandry.
Misandry, right? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what it stands for?
Give me 5 seconds and I will.
A hatred of men. It's that simple. It's misandry, a hatred of men. Why do they never use misandry when they talk about Hillary Clinton? Why not? I'm just confused. I just thought I'd bring that up, okay? Now, last night we watched the Commander-in-Chief Forum, and we watched Matt Lauer give Hillary Clinton a chance to explain some things last night. Hillary Clinton got a chance to explain. She was given a chance by Matt Lauer to explain her position on some things. But Lonnie, we're trying something new. Lonnie, give me that video and let's try to go to the 5 minute and 45 seconds into that video. Now folks, if this scares you, I hope this doesn't scare you too bad. Go 5:45 in there. Wait, I got to put my headphones in. I got to be able to hear this, right, Lonnie? Play that for me at 5:45.
It was known to have happened. We had to have an answer that did not move into classified area, and I think we handled that appropriately.
You mentioned you're in Pakistan. Some of the emails you sent and received happened while you were overseas, and Director Comey also said that while they have no proof, we assess that it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email accounts.
Matt, there is no evidence. Of course, anything is possible, but what is factual is the...
Stop right there. There's no evidence. Pay attention to this. We're going to break this down all morning long. There's no evidence. Remember, she keeps saying that. There's no evidence. Trust me, the Clintons. Hit play on that.
State Department system was hacked. Most of the government system...
Can you back up about 5 or 6 seconds? There's no evidence. No evidence. I'm going to play this out, okay? And Lonnie, let's go. Go ahead.
System was hacked. Most of the government systems are way behind the curve. We've had hacking repeatedly, even in the White House. There is no evidence my system was hacked.
Let us bring in...
Stop. Her system was much more secure, the private server, than the State Department, the White House, the government servers. So she actually did you a favor, American people, by using her private server, because there's no evidence that her private server was hacked. So she lays the groundwork last night to you that the State Department was hacked, the White House was hacked. But she actually did the right thing. It was a mistake, but she did the right thing because there's no evidence hers was hacked. Well, let me say this. If we're looking for the reason, we're looking for no evidence that her email server was hacked. What about when a judge ordered them to preserve the evidence? See, there's no evidence it was hacked, but what about when the judge ordered the evidence to be preserved, and then they took bleach bit and cleaned the server, like wiped it clean with a cloth? Hillary Clinton knows what she's saying, folks. She knows what she's saying. And she says there's no evidence. That's right. They cleaned the evidence out. They're letting you know that. And a judge said, preserve the evidence. You and I would be in jail. Oh, there was a guy that said that. Keep going, Lonnie.
Hallie Jackson of NBC News has been covering this campaign. She's getting questions from our veterans. Hallie, who are you with?
Hi,
Listen
Madam,
to
with
this.
Lieutenant John Lester, who will stand with me
stand
here.
up here.
He began his military career by enlisting in the Air Force and then switched over to the Navy before he retired, where he flew P-3 Orions in Desert Storm and in Desert Shield. He's a Republican, and he has this question for you, Secretary Clinton.
Thank you.
Secretary Clinton, thank you very much for coming tonight. As a naval flight officer, I held a top secret sensitive compartmentalized information clearance, and that provided me access to materials and information highly sensitive to our warfighting capabilities. Had I communicated this information not following prescribed protocols, I would have been prosecuted and imprisoned.
Stop. If he would have not followed protocols, he would have been prosecuted and imprisoned. He has, this gentleman, Lieutenant John Lester, had all of his security clearances, understands the security clearances. Now you need to pick up that this guy has probably read these emails. This guy understands what he's looking at, and he's telling this lady, if I would have done this, because we have example after example, I would have been prosecuted and imprisoned. But yet you, go on from there, Lonnie.
Secretary
Let's hear the
Clinton,
rest
how
of
can
this.
you expect those, such as myself, who were and are entrusted with America's most sensitive information, to have any confidence in your leadership as president when you clearly corrupted our national security?
Well, I appreciate
Stop.
your concern.
You clearly corrupted our national security. I didn't say that. Rush Limbaugh's not going to say that at 12 o'clock. No matter who's on the air at 9, they're not going to say that. George is not going to say that. It doesn't matter who you're listening to today. John Lester said you clearly corrupted our national security. Clearly corrupted our national security. Now, Hillary's going to respect this guy and say, well, you know, I understand, you know, you just are not clear on what I was dealing with. Let me explain to you. Now let's hear her explain to John Lewis her explanation of how she did not corrupt our national security. Go ahead, Lonnie.
And also your experience, but let me try to make the distinctions that I think are important for me to answer your question. First, as I said to Matt, you know and I know, classified material is designated, it is marked. There is a header so that there is no...
Stop. As you know and I know, she has the nerve to put John Lewis in a different position of his question. As you, John, as you and I both know. John, you know and I know. She has the nerve to put this guy in her same circle. Hey, you and I both know how it works. See, he doesn't get a chance to come back and say, no, Mrs. Clinton, that's not how it works. She gets to take over the conversation. Oh, you and I, John, we know how it works, okay? It is clearly marked on the top. I mean, if you don't get something, so I'm going to tell you, you better be careful, because if you send an email out and you don't have a subject in the box, Hillary could misunderstand it's classified. See, it is clearly has a heading. Oh, the heading was missing. But we do know that it was removed. We know that it was removed. Okay? The heading was removed. Now, the person at the top that should be able to discern what is classified and not within reading it. Now, I got a question for you, Lonnie, not to try to drag you into this political conversation. But if you were trained in something if you were trained in a certain subject, and because somebody didn't highlight the subject at the top, would you not be able to discern out of the body certain things about it that put it into classifications? I mean, help me out. I mean, just tell me. I don't care.
I think the word you're looking for is context.
Say it again. I like that. Context.
Context.
Huh?
Context.
And what about context?
If you're a writer or a reader or whatever, and you don't know a word in a sentence, you look at the rest of the sentence to determine the meaning of the word. It's called context clues.
Lonnie, how dare you? Lonnie, that was just one more time. Just one more time. Explain it to the people why. Let's forget who it is when you're looking at something and you don't even have a subject on it or anything. Give it to us. Make sure your mic's on. Give us that one more time, Lonnie.
It's called context.
Okay. And?
Context. If you don't know what a word is in the sentence, you look at the rest of the sentence to determine the meaning or the implication of the word.
Folks, Hillary Clinton has been through training, okay? She has been through training from First Lady to on the Armed Services Committee, a senator, Secretary of State, that she knows how to determine through the context of what she is reading, whether it's classified or not. There you go. Now, we brought it around for you. Forget the headers or what the media is telling you. Forget what the C word meant. Okay, she didn't understand that.
It's also called common sense.
Lonnie, you were done. You were done, Lonnie. Lonnie threw in common sense. Okay, we're good with that. Thanks. Okay, there you go. Now, she brought John into it. John, you know, you and I both know, John, that if you get this, and you understand protocols, and you understand that. Let's move on a little further in this.
Dispute at all that what is being communicated to or from someone who has that access is marked classified. And what we have here is the use of an unclassified system by hundreds of people in our government to send information that was not marked. There were no headers. There was no statement, top secret, secret, or confidential. I communicated about classified material on a wholly separate system. I took it very seriously. When I traveled, I went into one of those little tents that I'm sure you've seen around the world.
Or should we camp?
Because we didn't want there to be any potential for someone to have embedded a camera to try to see whatever it is that I was seeing that was designated, marked, and headed as classified. So I did exactly what I should have done, and I take it very seriously. Always have, always will.
Sir, thank you. Thank you very much for your question. Secretary Clinton, let's talk about your vote in favor of the war in Iraq. You since said it was a mistake. Obviously, it was not something you said you would do again. I asked before for people to raise their hand if you served in Iraq. Can you do it again? How do you think
All right,
these
stop right
people...
there. She says her vote for the war in Iraq was a mistake. We opened up today with President Nixon, former President Nixon that resigned in disgrace, by saying the people deserve to know if their president's a crook. And he says, although I've made some mistakes along the way, okay? Although I know we've made some mistakes along the way, the American people need to know if their president is a crook, all right? Now, that being said, Hillary says she made a mistake using a private email server. She made a mistake voting for the Iraq War. Although she's made these mistakes along the way, are you ready to make her president of the United States? Lonnie, let's go to 1250. Let's see what's at 1250. I got that mark. Let's go at 1250 and see what that is in a video before we go to break. Okay? What is 1250?
About whether to take on Gaddafi.
This is something we've tried for. Hold
But
on now,
before I
Lonnie.
get
Go
to
there,
that,
but don't
let me
go there. Don't start until I say. Back to 1250.
You're right at 12.
All right. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Say very clearly, I view force as a last resort, not a first choice. I will do everything in my power to make sure that our men and women in the military are fully prepared for any challenge that they may have to face on our behalf. But I will also be as careful as I can in making the most significant decisions any president and commander-in-chief can make about sending our men and women into harm's way. With respect to Libya, again, there's no difference between my opponent and myself. He's on record extensively supporting intervention in Libya when Gaddafi was threatening to massacre his population. I put together a coalition that included NATO, included the Arab League, and we were able to save lives. We did not lose a single American in that action. And I think...
Folks, we're right on the edge of 9/11. 9/11. Today is 9/8, just days away from 9/11. She saved lives with her Libyan action. She built a coalition. Not one American life was lost. You know, Lonnie, help me out, because sometimes I get confused. I get out here like I'm in a desert. And why the hell I got to have Hillary Clinton behind me right now, I don't know, but leave her up there. Wasn't Ambassador Stevens in Libya? Isn't that where that took place? Lonnie, you should be able to answer that. I mean, you're just supposed to be going with it. You're not supposed to be looking it up. You should know it like that, right?
Sure. Libya.
Right.
Ambassador to Libya.
So he was there, and we have 4 dead Americans. Back that up just about 8 or 10 seconds there. Let me hear Hillary tell the American people one more time how we did not lose any lives in Libya. Go ahead, back that up.
Included the Arab League, and we were able to save lives. We did not lose a single American in that action.
Not a single
And
life.
I think taking that action was the right decision. Not taking it and permitting there to be an ongoing civil war in Libya would have been as dangerous and threatening as what we are now seeing in Syria.
I'm going to jump in. Thank you very much for your question. Let me ask you about the Iran nuclear deal. It was signed under Secretary Kerry. It was begun under you. You started those talks. You have said you expect the Iranians to cheat. You think they'll buy time and perhaps stay along their course to building a nuclear weapon. If they cheat, Secretary Clinton, will you have any course of action other than a military course of action? Would you enter into negotiations with them again? Would you go back to economic sanctions knowing they cheated and are then closer to a nuclear weapon?
Matt, look, let me put this in context, because this is one of the most important
Please do.
strategic questions we face. When I became Secretary of State, the Iranians were on a fast track to acquiring the material necessary to get a nuclear weapon. That had happened the prior 8 years. They mastered the nuclear fuel cycle. They built covert facilities. They stocked them with centrifuges, and they were moving forward. What was our decision? Our decision was to try to put together an international coalition that included Russia and China to exert the kind of pressure through sanctions
Russia and China
that the United States alone could not do.
Right, but you said you think you're going to cheat.
Look, this is an important issue. I know we're on TV. We don't have a lot of time.
I want to get to a lot of questions.
I will talk quickly. But I want people to understand this. So, yes, I put together the coalition. We imposed the sanctions. We got them to the negotiating table. And after I left, we got the agreement. That agreement put a lid on their nuclear weapons program.
Stop. We imposed the sanctions. Now, Lonnie, leave that up there. I'm going to have to go to the chair here, and then we're going to go to a break, but I can stay within the camera. We imposed the sanctions, okay? That's what she's saying. Remember the sanctions she did not impose? Remember that? Look up the Ericsson Communication Company there. Is that a, look them up. Where are they at? Scotland or where are they at? And you remember we were about to put sanctions on Iran concerning technology, communications, those kind of things. And Hillary, a big donation was made to the foundation, the Clinton Foundation. And that's when Hillary came out and said, we're going to let businesses police themselves not to do business with terrorist countries. We dropped off $1.7 billion in cash. In cash, we dropped off $1.7 billion in cash, 4 different payments to Iran. And this lady behind me on the screen wants to be president of the United States. This lady behind me took this gentleman up here, Lieutenant John Lester, to task and said, John, you and I both know. We both know how classified information is collected. Folks, somehow last night, Donald Trump ended up getting, in his commander-in-chief side of it, he ended up getting the question concerning women in the military, serving in the military, abuse, women attacked and abused in the military. He ended up getting the questions on immigration in the military, all the above. Are you going to say, well, Hillary got attacked concerning her emails? No, what Hillary got was a free 30 minutes last night to explain everything she wanted to explain. And what she got is a free 30 minutes to say there was no evidence that her personal server, private server, was ever hacked. No evidence is what she got a chance to tell you. She got a chance to tell you that the State Department server had been hacked. Even the White House, but not hers. That's what she got a chance to tell you. All right? Trump bashed the generals. That's what you're going to hear this morning. Trump bashed the generals. Generals are the generals, some generals, we do not bash the military here. We have respect for our armed services, our men and women in the military. But I'm going to tell you, when you get up to the level of generals and so forth, there is a lot of political correctness that has to take place to posture yourself to get into some of these positions. Trump says those people, if you're in the military and all you've done is your political posturing and your political correctness to get close to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, you will be out. That's what he said, okay? Trump showed a list of 88 admirals and generals that have come together to endorse him. Now, Trump will not listen, is what they say. He won't listen to anybody. Now they're taking him to task because he says he's going to listen to the generals. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to have some more of that video that you are enjoying of last night, the commander-in-chief. I'm wondering how Hillary Clinton and her henchwomen, that's awful misogynist to me, isn't it, Lonnie? Is it? I don't know.
I think that's the PC terminology, because you can't call them henchmen anymore. That'd be misogynist.
That'd be misogynist? Yeah. I know, the word misogynist, just something about it. It sounds like you've walked in somewhere and there's a price list at the top and say, I'll take the misogynist for $300. You don't hear the Hillary and her henchwomen, right, Lonnie? Not henchmen, that would be misogynist, the henchwomen. Folks, we'll be at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge tomorrow. I keep taking off my mic. No wonder. I probably got, I think it's my earpiece and I keep taking my mic off, Lonnie. We will be at Sycamore Crossing tomorrow in downtown Blue Ridge. Be there at 8 o'clock. Don't forget, ask the doc. Send us a message for Doc Whaley, 706-889-9700. Or chief@fetyournews.com. We're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to have more of this video behind me. We're going to leave that up there. And we're going to play President Nixon a couple times this morning, just reminding you that he has made some mistakes along the way, but he had to resign because he needed to let the American people know. The American people need to know if their president is a crook. The American people need to know if the the potential of this woman to be president is a crook. Lonnie, take us a break.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
The summer sell-down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell-down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, America. The first ever $5 flavor menu is here, and it's a game changer. For just $5 each, you can get a medium one-topping pizza, Wing Street Wings, a Hershey's cookie, and your other Hut favorites. A Pizza Hut pizza for just $5? It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
How are you feeling, crowd?
Very pleased, thank you.
We do what we can here.
$5 for a Pizza Hut pizza. How can we not be pleased?
Good crowd today.
The $5 flavor menu, America's best pizza deal, only at Pizza Hut.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got. President?
Folks, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. Last night, we had the Commander-in-Chief Forum between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And we seen Matt Lauer give Hillary Clinton perfect opportunity to explain everything. And then we seen the different direction in the questioning for Donald Trump. Let me go over a couple things here real quick that we may have that I got to catch up on. Don't forget, FetcherNews.com will be at Sycamore Crossing tomorrow morning. We will be there. Good morning from the office, FYNTV.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or you can find all of our YouTubes on our videos on our YouTube channel. Go to the top of FetcherNews.com in the right-hand corner, and you will see the symbol for Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, and that's where you can follow us there. The Project Chimp up in Fannin County, if you're watching nationally, there will be approximately 200 chimpanzees will be moved to Project Chimp in Fannin County. The first of those 200, I don't know how many, but the first chimps arrived this morning. I just got a message from Laura Love, our reporter up in Fannin County, that those chimps are arriving this morning. She is out there with some videotape and meeting some national people out there. We've got some people that are from all over the country this morning up at Project Chimp that she is interviewing, taking some pictures of the chimpanzees in Fannin County's newest retirees. If you want to read the complete story on the chimpanzees coming to Fannin County, go to FetcherNews.com, Fannin County, click on the news button, and just keep scrolling back. When you get to the bottom, go to the next page, just go back through several of the news pages there and look at all of the news concerning Project Chimp. Tomorrow night is Friday Night Football, and FetcherNews.com will be following every team. Union Panthers travel to Andrews, Pickens travels to North Hall, and Fannin is at home against Chastity. So follow us at hashtag Team FYN Sports on Twitter to keep up with those games. Remember, the American people, I'm going to throw this out here. I'm jumping around a little bit, but this is my notes. The American people are left with two flawed candidates, okay? The failure, what they have to do, is I told you at the beginning of the show, is what they are doing now, the media. The media is letting you say, they're bringing the narrative of two flawed candidates. You understand? They are. All right? Donald Trump wouldn't be the flawed candidate unless they were out there telling you every day. But what they have to do is bring Donald Trump down to Hillary Clinton's level. Hillary is so low. Her favorabilities are what? 30%? People trust her 30%, so they're making sure that Donald Trump's favorabilities are 30% and they trust him at 30%. Watch and see if what I'm saying is not true. They have no choice but to do anything else, but they say, hey, you know what? Hillary Clinton, we're stuck at these numbers with her. So here's what has to happen. We got to get Donald Trump down to her level, because there's no amount of work the media can do to get Hillary Clinton up where they want her to be, okay? I have to say, after watching her last night, folks, ice runs through that woman's veins, okay? The court ordered her attorneys, they were ordered to preserve the evidence, but yet they washed it clean. They were ordered to preserve the evidence, but yet they washed it clean. Okay? This is the State Department. These people come from the State Department. Cheryl Mills comes from the State Department. Uma Abedin comes from the State Department. Hillary Clinton was in charge of the State Department. And yet, see, they do this all the time. They were trained properly in the, I'm being facetious, they were trained properly in the State Department that just whitewash it, just bleach bit. Remember this with James Rosen. Let's go to that video. Would it be hard to go to that video?
Is that the Fox?
Yeah. Is it hard? All right, let me get my earpiece in because I want to be able to hear. Remember this one here? Well, now watch. What's his name? Eric Bolling do this report, but this goes back a little ways. But watch. This is how the State Department works, and this is what Hillary Clinton would be in charge of if president of the United States. See, we're at a point in this country we're thinking that it is time somebody's held accountable. It is time somebody's in charge that actually says, this is not acceptable anymore. Watch this little brief video with me.
Weeks ago, the State Department accused of intentionally editing an exchange from our own James Rosen with spokeswoman Jen Psaki to possibly cover up deception by the Obama administration on its Iran nuclear negotiations. Now, here's the edited version.
There are remaining concerns that we have, as you all are familiar with, whether it's their involvement in support of the regime in Syria or humanitarian issues, and so that has not changed that.
The Obama administration says we... See that white flash there in the middle? And here's what actually happened.
James, I have no new information for you today on the timing of when there were any discussions with any Iranian officials.
Let me try it one last way, Jen, and I appreciate your indulgence.
Sure.
Is it the policy of the State Department where the preservation of the secrecy of secret negotiations is concerned to lie in order to achieve that goal?
James, I think there are times where diplomacy needs privacy in order to progress. This is a good example of that.
So in that white flash, roughly 8 minutes of video was cut out, including the part when Psaki admitted that sometimes the press needs to be misled to accomplish administration goals. Now, initially, the department blamed a... All
right, stop. The press needs to be misled. The press needs to be misled to accomplish the administration's goals, okay? 8 minutes was cut out of that video. 8 minutes, folks, was cut out. That's from the State Department. The State Department. It is an absolute mess. Our State Department's a mess. Now, if our State Department and things were going so great that Hillary Clinton left things in great shape, your President of the United States would not had to have exited from the back of the plane where the staff. Now, you want to talk about Bill Clinton. Lonnie, you hear something? Did you hear something? Well, you know, I can hear a dog whistle. I can hear a dog whistle.
My ears aren't that good.
Huh?
My ears aren't that good.
Well, Bill Clinton said, where's that video at? It's just play that video there.
Welcome to Listen to News. Today's news headline is: Bill Clinton says Make America Great Again is just a racist dog whistle. News in detail. Former President Bill Clinton on Wednesday said Donald Trump's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again, is a racist dog whistle. I'm actually old enough to remember the good old days, and they weren't all that good in many ways, Clinton said at a rally in Orlando. That message where I'll give you America great again is if you're a white Southerner, you know exactly what it means, don't you? What it means is I'll give you an economy you had 50 years ago, and I'll move you back up on the social totem pole and other people down, he said. What Hillary wants to do is take the totem pole down, and let us all go forward together. Clinton, who is a white Southerner himself, made the comments after Hillary Clinton gave a speech last month accusing Trump of bringing racism and fringe conspiracy theories into the mainstream with his 2016 campaign. From Listen to News, it's Hannah Jasmine signing out.
Woof, woof. You didn't hear that dog whistle, Lonnie? I can hear a dog whistle. Make America great again. Racist, it's a racist code, right? It's like a dog whistle for rednecks in the South. So Bill Clinton, rednecks, and Hillary Clinton wants to take the totem pole down. How many racial comments could he make? Would Bill be, Bill's not misogynistic, is he? He's a misogynist. I mean, how many racial comments can this guy make? Calling the South a bunch, make America great again is code word, okay? Let me tell you, you want to talk about, I'm surprised the media's not out there with all the racial overtones of a black president having to go in and out the black steps, having to exit the plane from the back steps with the staff, the black president in China. Seriously, folks, you can't make this up. That's how well our State Department is doing. That alone. Now, the media is going to tell you, well, now that's just a symbol, and we're making too much of this picture, and we're just making way too much of this. Folks, they don't care. They don't care anymore. When Air Force One lands, they don't care the President of the United States is on that plane, okay, when Air Force One lands. And Barack Obama had to exit from the back with the staff, where the mechanics and the staff and the food and everything, where they have to come in and out. They didn't even bring the steps to the front of the plane. No steps, no red carpet. Huh? Right? Telling you folks, the State Department's in a mess. Hillary Clinton left it in a mess. She made a disaster out of it. She's been there 30 years. Her career is a disaster. Trump had this correct. Now, one more thing before I get ready to go to my break with George coming in, and we'll get into this further. Trump last night, okay? Now, for all this time, Trump, I want to know from you, who disagrees that we should have taken the oil? Now, I have said for 2 years on this show, for however long I have been doing this show, is we left the treasure of our young men and women, their blood on that sand, and came home with nothing. Zip, zero, nothing. Nothing at all. And we created a vacuum. Now, you're going to hear the media, the left's going to come out today and tell you about the status of forces agreement that President Bush put in place. I, for one, disagree with the status of forces agreement that George W. Bush put in place. I disagree with that, okay? I think we should have definitely had a force in place to prohibit the vacuum that caused ISIS. So you're going to hear the left talk today about the status of forces agreement that George Bush put in place. But President Obama said, hey, on this day, mark your calendar. It's almost like I am announcing a festival somewhere. Mark your calendar on this day. We're out. We're gone. We are going to leave you brand new trucks to drive. We're going to leave you armored vehicles. We're going to leave you guns, weapons. We're going to leave stuff all over the place that you will be able to retrieve that may be able to fall in the hands of the wrong people, ISIS, ISIL if you're the president, right? This may happen. We may leave the area so vulnerable that the bad people take control of the oil and sell it on the black market while oil's up to $100 a barrel, and there will be banks that will wash that cash right through. Oh no, there won't be? What? Hell, why do you think there's not some banks in the world that have washed ISIS cash through from the oil of the purchase from brokers on the black market? No, that didn't happen. Folks, who printed $1.7 billion in American dollars cash? The Federal Reserve? Who gave the Federal Reserve? Now, wait a minute. Walk into your damn bank this morning and tell them, because God, it can't be me, but tell them you want your $500,000. You got a $500,000? I'm talking to you $500,000-aires out there. You got it in the bank. The bank sent you a statement, said you got a $500,000. Walk up to your bank today and say, I would like by 2 o'clock today for you to camp me out my cash of a $500,000. Well, you will have a local branch manager sweating bullets. His suit will start sweating through, his or her. I don't want to be misogynistic, right, Lonnie? Right. The suit of the bank official, him or her, will start sweating through profusely, because coming up with a $500,000 of cash to lay on a table for you could be a struggle for your banker this morning. Now, that being said, I'm not here to take on bankers. But who gave the green light to print $1.7 billion in cash to the Federal Reserve? And who gave the green light to put that damn money on the plane? And who gave the green light to wash it through a bank, a foreign bank, and turn it into a currency that legally could be sent to Iraq because we couldn't? Who gave all those green lights? But then Donald Trump says last night, all this corruption is taking place. Obama, cash money, Federal Reserve, $1.7 billion. All this is going on, and oh, God forbid, he said we should have took the oil. You take the oil, you took the cash away from ISIS. You immediately stopped the cash. There's no more cash for these guys. They could have a truck, but they wouldn't have enough money to put gas in it, because what did we do? Where did they get their money? Trump said, hey, in the old days, spoils went to the victor, right? I mean, if you won, you got spoils of war. I'm just saying. We left the blood of our kids on that sand and came home with zero. And Donald Trump's the bad guy for saying, hey, I wouldn't have gone to Iraq in the first place. I wouldn't have gone to war. I wouldn't have had your kids die in these senseless wars. But if I was there, my exit strategy, if I'm already there, and my exit strategy and what I do, it would be a lot different. A lot different. Okay? Now, the other thing Trump does is Trump doesn't want to give up the battle plan. I mean, he won't send NBC his day one battle plan, and they are freaking out. They're all freaking out. They want to see a press release on his battle plan. Really? And just because he says, no, I'm not telling you what it is. Yes, I have a plan. I'm not telling you. They are up in arms. They can't take it. All right? Now, first, he doesn't listen to people. And then last night he tells you, he's very presidential, and he says, I'm going to sit down with I have a plan. I have a plan. Okay? Now, let me explain something to you, and let me explain something to you. 2 years ago, I absolutely knew nothing about broadcasting on the internet. I didn't know anything 2 years ago. But I had a plan. I had a plan that one day you would turn on fyntv.com. I had a plan we would broadcast these shows. I had a plan we would do football shows. I have more plans. But 2 years ago, I did not know exactly how we got to where we're at today. In fact, I still don't, Lonnie. But anyhow, I'm still not clear on how we got here. But I had a plan, right? But you know what I did? I went and I talked to people and I called people and I counseled with people all over from the industry. Lonnie came in and Lonnie spent hours. I would say, Lonnie, this is what's going to happen, right? Lonnie, this is what's going to happen. And then, you know, folks, you got to know him after he finished his crying and his, you know, and we had to get him a popsicle and everything because he was crying and whining about it. Hey, you know that happened, Lonnie. You just don't want to admit it. But I had a plan. Lonnie, this is what we're going to do. I called people up in technology centers all over. This is what I want to do. But the media can't handle that, folks. It's only out here in the real world. See, we're dealing with the real world. We're talking about the real world. We understand what it's like to say we have a plan. So Donald Trump says last night, I have a plan. What's your plan? I'm going to tell you the plan. I mean, you'll mail it over there to them. I'm not telling you the plan. Well, can you do it all by yourself? No, I'm going to get the generals in. I'm going to sit down for 30 days and I want them to present me. I'm going to see the boards. They're going to present the boards all around the room. There's going to be screens. And they're going to say, Mr. Trump, I think if we go here. And this one's going to say, Mr. Trump, I think if we move here. Mr. Trump, I think if we do this. I think if we do that. And he is going to listen. And then he's going to take the plan he wants to execute, and he's going to take all the things that he heard, and he's going to push it into that, and he's going to execute that plan. But no, the media can't understand that, but you and I can. You and I can understand that. They can't understand what he's going to do. I do. So first, Donald Trump listens to nobody, and he gets criticized. Then last night he comes out and he says, hey, I got a pocket here. I got a list of 88 generals. 88 generals. And I got a list between 88 generals and admirals. And he says, I'm going to listen and get counsel. And now that's freaking him out. Hey, let me say something before we go to break. George's going to come in 9 o'clock. We're going to get George in here with the discussion, get heated up a little bit here because we're not through with this commander-in-chief forum. But let me ask you a question. Where was Bill? Where was the dog whistle? Why didn't Hillary blow her dog whistle last night? Because where was Bill and where was Chelsea? Huh? Did you see the camera pan to anybody with Clinton? Pay attention to that. Watch all 55 minutes and see if it panned to anybody. Clinton's on the stage, didn't pan to anybody. Didn't pan to Uma, didn't pan to Cheryl Mills, didn't pan to Chelsea, didn't pan to Bill, didn't pan to their neighbors, didn't pan to, somebody, how the Democrats love to get somebody in the gallery at the State of the Union. It didn't pan to any of the people. She didn't look out in the audience and say, I brought these 3 people with me tonight from Arkansas. The camera panned to nobody when Hillary Clinton. Where was Bill and Chelsea? It's these little things you got to pay attention to. Hey, Donald Trump pointed right in the audience. 3 generals on the front row. 3. Melania, his wife, on the front row. And who was right behind? All the kids. I think Eric might have laid out. All the kids. The 2 daughters, Ivanka, Tiffany, and one of the sons. The other son was probably out doing interviews or giving speeches somewhere, working hard for his dad, or running the family business, and one of the daughter-in-laws. 2 rows, the audience. Where was the people that they panned to for Hillary Clinton? They weren't there. See, I don't even think she shows up in a mirror. That is one cold woman. Ice runs through her veins. Ice, ice, baby. That's Hillary Clinton. Whew, that's a scary thought. Let's go to break line. Let's get George in here and let's follow this up for another hour. Commander-in-Chief, what do you think? Why don't you take us a break?